How much did David's family really know about his alleged relationship with 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez before she was found dismembered in the trunk of a Tesla tied to him? What did they tell a secret grand jury in the months leading up to his arrest? And why did his brother decide this was the moment to step into the spotlight with his own music career? David Anthony Burke, better known by his stage name now, stands at the center of a disturbing case. Prosecutors allege that he spent months communicating with a teenage girl before luring her to a luxury rental in the Hollywood Hills, where they claim he killed with a sharp object and later dismembered her. These allegations come from the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. David has pleaded not guilty. His legal team, led by Blair Burke, insists the evidence will ultimately prove he was not responsible. But what that evidence is remains unclear. What is clear, however, is what he's facing: first-degree murder charges with special circumstances that can mean life without parole or even the death penalty, despite the current pause on executions. As the case moves closer to a preliminary hearing, attention is shifting beyond just the charges. People are now asking deeper questions about David himself, his rise to fame, his inner circle, and the role his family may have played. Before all of this, David was known for something entirely different. In 2022, he exploded onto the scene with Romantic Homicide, a track that racked up over 1 billion streams. His album Weather debuted in the Billboard 200's top 15, placing him alongside some of the biggest names in music. He even stood out for how he made his music recording, much of it on his iPhone, using apps like BandLab. His journey from a bedroom in Texas to global recognition happened fast. While estimates suggest his net worth sat somewhere between $2 and $3 million, his exact earnings remain unconfirmed, but his success was undeniable. Then everything changed. By September 2025, headlines were no longer about his tour. They were about a missing girl. Celeste should have been celebrating her 15th birthday. Instead, her remains were discovered inside a Tesla reportedly linked to David, with parts of her body still missing. She hadn't been seen since April. As investigators closed in, the focus widened. It wasn't just about David anymore. It was about everyone around him. Prosecutors alleged that while his career was taking off, he was also interacting with young fans online, including Celeste. Court filings claim they first connected when she was just 11 years old, with their relationship escalating years later. Authorities say she spent large portions of 2024 with him, traveling across cities and even internationally, including trips to Las Vegas, London, and Texas, where she reportedly met his family. That raises a critical question. How much did they really know? His family was eventually called to testify as part of the case. And after his arrest, their attorney released a statement saying they were deeply saddened and disappointed, but still stood by him, maintaining their belief in his innocence. So now, let's talk about what's come out about the Burke family over the past year. And to be clear, David is the only person currently charged in connection with Celeste's death. None of his family members have been accused of any wrongdoing. David's parents are Colleen and D. Wood Burke. He also has an older brother, Caleb, along with a younger sister, according to reports. And Caleb in particular has recently started drawing attention, but we'll get to that in a moment. Back when speculation first began to explode in rumors about David the Tesla, and the discovery in California started spreading, something was also happening back home in Texas. The Burke family residence reportedly became the target of a swatting incident. Swatting, for context, is a dangerous hoax where someone calls emergency services and reports a fake crisis to trigger a heavy police response. In this case, deputies were dispatched to the family's home in Hempstead, a large property set back from the road. The house itself reportedly spans around 4,400 square feet and sits on nearly 7 acres of land. The situation began with the 911 call placed on September 18th, just days after Celeste's body was discovered. So, someone reportedly called in claiming there was a dead body at the home, but they didn't give much detail. When this first surfaced, an audio expert reviewed the call and noted that the voice sounded distorted, suggesting it may have been intentionally disguised. As deputies responded, one of them radioed back to the sheriff's office, asking the dispatcher for more information while approaching the property.
How far is the other guy out?
Not. Let me see where he's at compared to you.
Show me sign on me, Martin.
He is turning right now onto 359, so he's probably like 5-6 minutes if he's booking it. Yeah, this house is far. Be careful. Wait on him, Chris.
That's what I'm
guy,
doing. That's what I'm
this
doing.
guy. Yeah, whenever he told me, he was like, "Hey, I just heard gunshots and someone's dead," and I was like, "Wait, what do you mean somebody's dead? Like, how do you know that? Do you see them?" And he's like, "No, he's like, I heard a lady scream right after the gunshots." And I was like, "Okay, so have you seen anybody? Have you heard anything? Have you heard any more gunshots?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "Okay, well, what's your name?" "My name?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's your name?" But behind it, to the side of it, yeah, so y'all just be careful.
Yeah,
he's almost, he's on Porter Lane right now already. So he's moving.
Yeah, I'm gonna move up a little ways and we'll ride in.
Okay, well, we're gonna close it when y'all get there, just to make sure.
Alright, let me grab my Yeah, cause this ain't right. I remember one time coming out here when I first started and we had a crazy dude back here, and it was like when I was on FTO.
Yeah, and I looked at the prior scene because he kind of gave me that vibe. But yeah, it's a very long driveway that loops around to his big old house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no, like, houses close to him. That's why his property is huge.
Yeah.
That's why when he said that, it confused me.
Alright, let me let him know. I'm getting about to pull it beside me. I'm going to let him know.
Okay, bye.
So the deputies, one of whom, by the way, is armed with a high-powered rifle, walked up to the Burke's front door.
Go ahead. I got you covered. Come right here. There's too many windows. Here, knock on the door. Dude, we got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. What? Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? No. That's it.
That's it. That's what actually got.
We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman screamed.
What?
I'm serious. That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead.
No, sir.
David's mother, Colleen, reportedly became concerned that the deputies might not actually be legitimate, so she called 911 herself to confirm what was happening.
Sorry to bother you, but somebody called and said there was something. I mean, there was a person they called on themselves. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead. Yeah.
That's why we have to take caution. You know what I mean? We're trying to scare y'all. This house is way off the roadway.
So you just opened the gate and came in?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it back. I have a gate just like it.
I think it's trying to get my country.
Yeah, when it's something like this, when they say somebody's dead, their life matters more than, you know what I mean?
I hear.
Yeah, the dispatcher read the phone number of the person who called 911 to Colleen, typed it into her phone, and it didn't show up in her contacts.
It ain't on their phone.
And this is not a Texas.
Yeah, that's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
But whoever, it would be pinged here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
What the what?
So like whenever you call 911, wherever you are, it sends like a ping that's how they know the address.
And this address came up to this number?
Yes, ma'am, that's where he was meeting.
Engine 42. So it says somebody on my property?
It could be. We'll check the property for you.
So, according to a police report reviewed by TMZ, deputies remained on the Burke property for roughly 20 minutes before ultimately closing out the call, determining it was likely a swatting incident. But that's not the only thing that raised eyebrows. TMZ also reported that David transferred the deeds of 2 Texas homes into a trust under his mother's name on September 18th and 20th. That timing is hard to ignore, because September 18th is the exact same day the swatting call happened. Now, there's no confirmed reason for the transfer, but speculation at the time suggested that if David were arrested in connection to Celeste's death, this could have been an attempt to protect his assets from being seized. There's also a major gap in the timeline. From September, when David canceled his tour, till April when he was arrested, his whereabouts are largely unknown. he went completely silent. No social media, no public appearances, nothing. He was eventually arrested in California, but it raised the question, where was he during those months? Was he laying low at one of those Texas properties? Then came a major development through court filings. We learned for the first time that David had been officially labeled a target in a murder investigation well before his arrest. In February, prosecutors filed what's called a petition for attendance, aiming to compel his mother, Colleen, his father, D. Wood, and his brother Caleb to testify before a Los Angeles grand jury. The documents made it clear that investigators believed these family members were important witnesses due to their close relationship with David. The Burt's legal team pushed back, filing a writ of habeas corpus. They argued that the order was unlawful because they were only given redacted documents. They didn't have full visibility into what they were being asked to testify about. But a judge ultimately denied that request. And in the process, some documents were unsealed, giving us a clearer look at the investigation at that time. Those documents revealed that David was suspected of being involved in the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose severely decomposed and dismembered body was found inside the front trunk of a Tesla registered to him. According to investigators, the vehicle had been reported abandoned, then impounded. When authorities checked it, they immediately noticed a strong odor of decomposition. Inside, they discovered a cadaver bag containing remains, along with additional bags holding dismembered body parts. The car was registered to David's home address in Texas, even though he was reportedly on tour at the time it was impounded. The filings also highlighted how close his family members were to him, his brother, his mother, and his father, described as having strong relationships with David. His mother in particular was noted as being heavily involved in managing his career and finances. Which raises another question. Were they being called to testify about his personal life? His relationship with Celeste? That part remains unclear, especially since large portions of the documents were redacted. In court, prosecutors argued that the Burks were material witnesses. Their reasoning was simple. If a car registered to your home address is found with a dismembered body inside, it's reasonable for authorities to question you. The defense, however, maintained that their clients had a right to fully understand the situation before being compelled to testify across state lines. Despite those arguments, the judge ruled that the Burks were indeed necessary witnesses and ordered them to comply with the subpoena and appear in California. What happened during those proceedings and what they may have said remains unknown publicly, though. The family has stood by David, maintaining that they believe he is innocent. But in a surprising twist, while David sits behind bars awaiting trial, his brother Caleb has stepped into the spotlight, launching his own music career. Performing under names like Kova, he recently released new music on major platforms like Apple Music and Spotify. The timing has sparked backlash online, with critics calling it tone deaf. Caleb, however, pushed back in a lengthy Instagram statement. He denied any involvement in the case, distanced himself from his brother, and rejected claims that he was using the situation for attention. According to him, he's been working on music for years, and this release was already planned long before the headlines resurfaced. He also addressed circulating videos showing him interacting with Celeste, saying he barely knew her and had no understanding of her age at the time. According to Caleb, his goal isn't attention, is to build his own path, separate from everything surrounding his brother. Now, the next major development in this case will be the preliminary hearing, where a judge will determine whether there's enough evidence for the case to move forward to trial. It was originally scheduled shortly after David's arrest, but the defense requested more time, citing the massive amount of evidence they need to review. That hearing is now set for the end of May, and depending on what comes out, we may finally get a clearer picture not just of David's alleged actions, but of what those closest to him may have known.